Seriously? You're skipping the bulletin board follow-up again? And for another glue bottle video about the looks of it? What the heck, man? Must be nice that your life is so easy you're complaining about glue not coming out of the bottle fast enough. Again with the apple? Wait, we didn't have any apples. Did you go out and buy an apple specifically to throw at me? You're an apple!
Hi, I am Nicky Clements, and I used to make stuff like this. Well, apparently, I am not done talking about glue bottles yet. I don't really know how that's possible, but after finishing my previous video, I remembered an inverted bottle that I had completely forgotten about. Fast food restaurants and places like Subway have been using a bottle like this for ages. And that makes sense. That's definitely a place where you can't afford to waste a single second of time. Whether it be waiting a few seconds for condiments to come out of the bottle, or even something as trivial as flipping open a cap. You just need to be able to grab and go. Now, this bottle is very similar to this new Dawn dish soap bottle. They're both designed to sit inverted, although the form factor of this is much more akin to a bottle of glue than dish soap, and the nozzle is very low profile. It sits very close to the ground, although it does have gaps all the way around, which for glue probably isn't ideal. Although with this, it really didn't seem to make a difference, as glue has once again dried up in the nozzle. And this has just been sitting here for pretty much 2 weeks since I finished the last video, and oh, well, what do you know? If you squeeze hard enough, it broke through. Well, that changes a little bit. I was expecting that to not work, honestly. Because part of the follow-up in this video was gonna be that this might really not be the best solution, simply because when the nozzle clogs, it's kind of a pain to have to clean it out, the same as, when this clogs and you have to spend, a couple minutes, picking all the glue off and getting the nozzle to work again. Same with this. You don't want to have to be cleaning that out every time you want to use it. You want to be able to grab and go. But that seems that if it's stored upright, the layer of glue that forms on that nozzle might be thin enough to where you can just push through it. Even in the previous video when I tried that, I don't think I squeezed that hard. I think if you squeeze hard enough, you can just pop through it, and then you're gonna go on your way. Because part of the conclusion I was gonna come to in this video is that maybe just the ketchup bottle for now is the best solution, seeing is that it's open and closable, and then you're never going to have the issue where that nozzle's clogged unless, you leave it like that. Which is still a great solution. It's a super easy, super effective, and it checks all the boxes. But the fact that I was able to break through that and it works just fine is very promising. So these might work great as well too. And then that was gonna be one of my other suggestions, is that if we were to actually design a glue bottle specifically for this, would be to use some sort of material that is like super glue phobic, where the glue would not stick to it at all, so that you could very easily just squeeze, and any glue that might be dried on whatever silicone material the tip is made out of, it would literally just pop right off with any amount of pressure. But it kind of did that, so that's kind of cool. Kind of like spray cheese bottles, or in this case, peanut butter. Even with the cap on, some small amount of product is going to get dried out in the nozzle. So when you go to use it, you simply just squeeze out that dried portion, and then you're good to go. Hey, we should put glue in one of these. So maybe this still really is a viable solution, and maybe this will be too. I definitely like this more. I just like that it just looks like a glue bottle, and it's very cool that it can open from either end. So you have a cap on the top and the bottom, which is just cool. I like this because it's accessible. You can just go to the store and get one of these. These you'll probably have to order on Amazon. Maybe you could find it at like a Gordon Food Supplies. I didn't check. But I mean, 2-day shipping, whatever, you can get it. But I do like things that you can just literally get in your car, go to a store, and grab off the shelf. So that's what makes this really cool. But let's throw some glue in here and just see how it works. Yeah, that works fine. It puts out a lot of glue though. Now these bottles do come in 3 different types. As far as I'm aware, there's a yellow nozzle, a green nozzle, and a blue nozzle. And I think blue is the largest, so that would be even more glue. I think green is smaller. Yeah, so green nozzle is probably the nozzle you'd want to use, but of course you could have multiples. And, you know, for projects that you need to squeeze a whole bunch of glue, you could throw on the blue nozzle, which, yeah, I mean, let's just check. Let's do our due diligence. Yeah. So blue is the biggest, yellow is the middle, and green is the small one. So blue puts out a ton of glue. I think I like green for your average glue bottle purpose. Yeah, that's really nice. And like, I mean, the amount of glue in the tip, this might honestly work better. I mean, this, like I said, this still works great. I mean, like that had been sitting for 2 weeks. There was dried glue in it, and I was able to just pop through the dried glue. I didn't even have to pick it out with a toothpick like I did last time. But this is really nice. Like this, there's a bit more force that it takes to get the glue out, which might be good. This is pretty fine. I mean, I can put down a very tiny amount of glue, but I mean, this just goes, which, you know, that's what you need it to do for what it's designed to do. But there's almost like no glue in the tip. There's just a tiny little blob of glue inside that tip. So I think this is it. I think if you can find some of these condiment bottles, that this is awesome. Even with these gaps, I don't think it's gonna matter just because this tip is so well designed. I mean, this would even be great for dish soap. I don't know, I think maybe Dawn should have just copied this more. Go online, go on Amazon, or you know, if you work in fast food and I don't know, some of the bottles go missing. Maybe if you have extra, you have a cool manager or something. But yeah, if you can get your hands on some of these condiment bottles, these are awesome. I really figured it would be basically the same, but it's better. I like it way more. I like that it just, the form factor is almost identical to a bottle of glue. That's really cool. So I mean, that's pretty much it. I really just kind of wanted to do a follow-up. It took a slight unexpected turn as to what I was expecting to happen, which is cool, which is always good. You really shouldn't go into an experiment trying to prove something. You should just let the experiment show what happens. But a bonus bottle that I wanted to share with you, someone in my comments mentioned this bottle of tacky glue, which is designed as an inverted bottle. It still has a cap that you have to take off, but they design it so that it sits upright, and they even mark it on it, always ready to use, which is really cool. It's definitely a step in the right direction as far as the inverted glue bottle goes. This just works. Because part of my thought was, like, the ideal bottle might be something that kind of combines some of the elements of these glue bottles. We have this inverted mechanism that's always ready to use, but we do include a way to like seal it off. I don't think having to put a cap on would be the way to go. I don't think having a cap that goes on this that you have to take off would be ideal, because that's kind of just as annoying, and it almost defeats the purpose. Because if you can have a cap that you can take off, then why even bother with this fancy nozzle? But I think something that you can open and close, I liked this mechanism, the screw top mechanism, more than the pull top mechanism. So something that you could just screw open and closed, like this, that just had an open and close mechanism, so that if you are gonna like put it on the shelf for a couple months or, you know, even a couple weeks and not use it, you can just screw it closed. Otherwise, you can leave it open, and likely when you grab it, it'll still work, but you have that option to seal it closed completely. I think if someone was setting out to design the perfect bottle, I think that might be the way to go. It's basically combine these two. But again, that might not even be necessary. This might work indefinitely. I mean, yeah, if you squeeze it out and you just leave a wad of glue in there, you're probably gonna have to pick it out. But if you're just using this normally and you just set it up right, I mean, yeah, even on its side is good too, because this is gonna drain to one side and leave the nozzle completely open. This would be worst case scenario if you leave it upside down with a bunch of glue in it, which would just be dumb because that's not how the bottle's designed to sit. It's an inverted bottle. That is the whole point. So yeah, the nozzle made out of a material that is completely glue phobic, that glue will not stick to at all. You could pick it off with, you could blow on it and the glue would fly off. And some sort of twist nozzle that you could close if you wanted. I don't think cap is the solution. I think cap just defeats the purpose. Cap is the easy solution, and we have that right here. This is still a great solution. I mean, that is quick. I mean, you could do that almost as quickly, but I mean, that's just nice. I mean, of course, we're not in fast food, even with woodworking, you take your time. So it doesn't matter that you have to do this. But I got better stuff to do. If I can just do that, let me do that. So, yeah, I think this is the way I'm gonna go. As much as I love this Dawn bottle, I love that you can just go buy one. I like this a lot more, and I have a whole bunch of them. So I think this is my new glue bottle from now on. All right, now before I go and shut up about glue bottles, there is one other experiment that I wanted to do. One thought I had was possibly being able to make my own tips for these Titebond bottles. So you could just screw off the existing tip and then screw on a new tip that would basically turn it into an inverted bottle. And that might be something that I try and do in the future. You can venture into 3D printing threads, which is something I haven't tried before, and I think that could be a pretty cool project. And one element of that would be the nozzle, and I started looking into whether or not I could just buy these nozzles, and they're either called a cross-slit valve or a V-flow dispenser, as far as I can tell, and I really couldn't find a good source to purchase them, especially as an individual. I'd have to buy a huge lot, or I'd have to reach out to a customer service representative, and it's definitely more for the companies making this bottle who are ordering them to put in their bottles, not an individual who just wants to buy 5. So finding a source for these might be a problem, which is where I wanted to do just a little experiment. I found some rubber sheets at the hardware store, which these are pretty cool. You can find these in the plumbing department, by the toilets. And this alone, I feel I'll probably end up using. This is just a really cool source for just a nice sized rubber sheet. And they come in 2 different thicknesses, I think 16 and maybe an 1/8 inch, slightly thicker. But I just want to take a piece of this rubber and put it in this cap and then just cut across in it and see if I can actually make my own nozzle, see if that would work at all. So I'm just going to do that real quick. I have a hole punch kit, and it just so happens that the 1¼ inch punch, the largest one it has, is pretty much a perfect fit for inside this bottle cap. Well, that's interesting. Doing this on a glass tabletop is probably a horrible idea, but we managed. Cool. That's really nice. And I'm just gonna cut an X into it. Now I just want to cut this tip part off of this cap. Not bad. It's honestly like a millimeter too small, but I'm just gonna, I think we might be okay. No. It doesn't even want to come out. All right, let me give it one more try. Just have to cut it the old-fashioned way. Well, okay, that's enough experimenting for today. My sincere thank you for watching. Once again, I am Nick D. Clements. If you're wondering, Nick is short for Nicholas, and D stands for Duke Cannon, a big-ass brick of soap for hard-working men, which I'm definitely going to need. Anyway, I'm off to make something else. Not on the tablecloth, on my knife. So you use green for a little, blue for a lot, and red for a metric ton.